Thank you guys for joining me today. Unafraid, rights to a wrong. It is almost the end of August. It's Wednesday, August 30th. We got a couple things on tap for you today. First of all, tomorrow is the greatest day of the entire year. The college football season finally starts. Yes, and I don't mean like the fake me out games that we had last weekend. I mean real games, real matchups, real football. But before we even get started about this, you know I love genius ideas, and there's a genius idea that I saw today. My friend Mike, he sent me the article. I thought it was great. So there's this company out there. It's called Rep the Squad. Rep the Squad. They are selling monthly subscriptions that allow fans to pick what jerseys they want to wear and have the item sent to them one at a time. No, you want your own jersey, right? Nope. Not today's people, right? Not today's world. People want to be interchangeable. So what do? So what do? They charge you $19.95 a month and $16.95 a month for kids. You can pick which jerseys that you want to wear from your team. Wear them long as you want. Then send them back, and you can get whatever jersey that you want next, whatever jersey you have in your queue. That sounds like a great idea to me. Because for many, many reasons. Because they're assuming all the risk. Because aren't you tired as a fan of the team changing colors? They get a damn color rush jersey. They get this, they get that. And you have to go buy a new jersey just so you can fit in and be one of the cool kids. They changed the logo a little bit on the helmet, and you got to switch up. Aren't you tired of that as a fan? I mean, I know my Oregon Duck fans, they would definitely buy into this. Because instead of having to have 38,000 different uniform combinations and jerseys in your closet, guess what? All you need is to pay your monthly subscription to this team. To this company. To the company Rep the Squad. Oh, I love it. I love it, especially for kids. I have 4 kids. These damn kids grow. So imagine that. I want to buy them a Raiders jersey. I want to buy them a Cowboys jersey. My kid's 6 years old. My youngest is 6 years old. Wants a Marshawn Lynch jersey. Wants an Ezekiel Elliott jersey. Then what do I have to do? I got to go spend on NFLshop.com for a kid's jersey. It's going to cost me like $79. Or I can get a full-size adult jersey for $150. But guess what? I only got one colorway then. How about when I need to wear a white jersey? What do I do? Then I got to drop another $150 when I could really just drop $20 a month. And this company they've been doing really, really well. Well, they've gotten support, they've gotten backing because of who they are involved with. They are the company who was one of the earliest investors in Amazon has picked them up. Maveron, which was co-founded by Starbucks, Howard Schultz. And then the athletes, their investors include Doug Baldwin, Golden Tate, and Russell Okon. Guess which teams are already on board? The San Francisco 49ers. Which this is a great play for them because they're having so much turnover right now anyway that if I was a fan, I wouldn't buy a jersey of any of these dudes except for maybe DeForest Buckner, Anthony Armstead, and then the kid Thomas that they just drafted out of Stanford. Those are the only people worth buying jerseys of right now. And the Detroit Lions. So this is a good deal. I like this. I think that this is absolutely fabulous for the company, especially if you're an adult or a kid. It does not matter. There's throwback uniforms. It is going to save you a lot of money. I have no interest in this. I've got no stake in this. They take care of the cleaning and all that. I just think that it's reasonable. I think it's genius. I wish I had come up with it because I certainly would have invested in this. Especially when you see the people who are backing it. The same people from Amazon and Starbucks and all this. Oh man, I'm in. Tillman Fertitta, who is a big booster down at the University of Houston, the billion-dollar buyer on CNBC, all that, right? He owns the Landry's restaurant chains. He gave me a word of advice. Don't invest with people who have less money than you. That's what the man told me. So guess what? When people are in there like that, people names like that, I'm in. So I think this Rep Your Squad team is going nowhere. But let's get over to college football, what we came to talk about today. So I tweeted out my top 4 teams. My top 4 college football teams of the year. I know some of you guys are going to be irritated and frustrated with my top 4, but I just so happen to be a college football expert and just so happen to be right a lot of times on this. My top 4 include, these are the teams that I think are going to be in the college football playoff. The 4 teams. I got Oklahoma State number 4, Penn State number 3, USC number 2, and Florida State numero uno. Yep. Guess who's not in there? That's the University of Alabama. It's not that I don't think that Alabama's good. I just don't think that they're going to be able to overcome a loss from Florida State and potentially somebody else as well. I just don't see it happening. I don't think that they're going to be able to do it. That leads me to probably the most important aspect of this whole college football ranking and what's going on. My bold predictions for week 1. So, you know, SEC fans, they generally don't like me. They say, you know, oh, you hate on the SEC. You don't tell it like it is. You have Pac-12 bias. No, I just call a spade a spade. And if I were Alabama, I would seriously be considering leaving the SEC and going the independent route like Notre Dame. Get my own network, make all the money, because the SEC is not doing anything for Alabama right now. Alabama's doing everything for the SEC. That's the way it is right now. It's the other way around. And my 5 bold predictions for this weekend in college football are: number 5, Josh Rosen. I'm predicting that he destroys the Texas A&M defense. Why is that? I know last year he had 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions versus them. It was an ugly game, especially that pass that he threw for an interception that he literally threw it to the defender trying to throw it away. Poor choice, all that. I'm telling you that Chosen Rosen is back. And granted, the Texas A&M defense is supposed to be good. They're supposed to be in the SEC, all these things. But if what reports are true is that Texas A&M is having trouble with their pass rush. They lost Garrett. They're having trouble. They've had trouble historically stopping the run. Guess what that means? That means that Josh Rosen, if you can't get a pass rush on Josh Rosen, he is going to light you up. Texas A&M defense, he passed for over 400 yards and 4 total touchdowns. He's going to throw for 3 and run one of them in. So I love Kevin Sumlin. I like Texas A&M, but the reality is he's coming into this season on the hot seat. He's going to leave this game on the inferno seat. Then there's the game everybody's been waiting on all season. Oh, damn, everybody's super excited about this. Alabama, Florida State. Alabama's not picking on a USC team that just came off of sanctions, which was a smart move. Good move, Alabama. They're not picking on Wisconsin. They're not picking on any of these teams. No, they went straight to the big dogs. They went straight to Florida State. And Florida State is going to take Alabama down. Florida State's going to beat Alabama for a couple reasons. Yes, it's probably going to be an exciting matchup. Yes, all these things. But the reality is this, is that Alabama lost 5 starters from their front 7. 5 starters, including the player of the year, Jonathan Allen. The Seminoles' offensive line wasn't that great last year. They're a year better, and they don't have to face them granimals that they had out there last year. I mean, like, they had pure savages out there on the line last year. Yes, they have Hand and some of those other guys that are supposed to be good, but it's not like having Jonathan Allen out there. Alabama does reload. I agree, Alabama reloads. However, Florida State can match Alabama talent for talent. They always have a top 5, top 7 recruiting class. So they're not going to be outclassed. Florida State will not be outclassed. It's going to be the quarterbacks who determine this game. Because, yes, Alabama usually can run the ball really, really well. But what does Florida State have better than Alabama this year? Their defense is better. Their defense is better. Up front, they have a tremendous pass rush, and they have the best player in college football in their secondary, in Derwin James. If you ever heard of Derwin James, you will be hearing his name a lot this season. He's a safety from Florida State. The kid could be, I mean, like, we're talking like Sean Taylor good. Like, this is how tremendous this kid is. And Jalen Hurts, he makes some plays, but he's just not the kind of guy that is going to be able to put the game on his shoulders after Alabama can't run the ball that well. It's just not going to happen. So, sorry, Alabama fans. SEC loses again. Oh, the Michigan hype. Oh, God, the Michigan hype is going to go crazy this weekend. No, Jalen Hurts is not winning the Heisman. He will be in consideration simply because he plays for Alabama, but he's not a Heisman guy. Like, Heisman should go to the best player in college football. He just doesn't anymore, which is frustrating for me. The Michigan hype, it just explodes. It goes crazy after this weekend. This game against Florida has literally turned into a joke. They already had 8 players suspended. And then I see Bruce Feldman tweet out today that Florida suspends its Jordan Scarlett, who's their starting running back, indefinitely, and he's going to miss the Michigan game. What? This has turned into like a glorified scrimmage. This turned into a scrimmage at best for this Michigan team. I mean, what are you going to be able to ascertain about this Michigan team in a win? Because they should beat Florida pretty badly for a few reasons. Number one, Florida's offense is absolutely atrocious and terrible. Last year, they had the number 107th scoring offense in the country. You have all type of athletes. Why can't you score points? They didn't even score points against bad teams. So what do you think you're going to do against Jim Harbaugh, and Michigan? Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. And no, I don't have Ohio State in the top 4 in the playoff. Penn State is the best team in the Big Ten. They are. Ohio State's schedule, with the exception of Oklahoma, is underwhelming. And that game against Penn State that they're going to lose is going to be the telltale sign of their season. That's going to get them out of the college football playoff. Because last year, they didn't belong in the college football playoff anyway. Shouldn't have been in there anyway. Next thing up, though, is... so going back to the Michigan hype train. After this game, they already are coming into the season ranked, 9th in the coaches poll and 11th in the AP poll. After this weekend, they're going to be a top 10 team. Everybody's going to be saying, oh, Jim Harbaugh, he's this, he's that. They're national championship contenders. No, they're not. With only 5 returning starters. No, they're not. You're not winning the national championship. You can be a very good team. But Michigan's overrated this year. Severely. That doesn't mean they suck. But they are clearly overrated. I don't have any hate for Michigan. I just see them for what they really are. Can't be upset about that. Next thing up. Oh, Georgia is going down. I know it feels like I'm piling on the SEC right now. But Georgia plays Appalachian State. Oh, you think I'm just picking that because I have to pick some sort of major upset? No, I strategically see this one coming. Last year, Appalachian State played Tennessee. Tennessee had to make a 4th quarter comeback to beat Appalachian State. They used to be an FCS team when they played up in Michigan in the big house and beat Michigan then. Guess what they're going to do when they play Georgia? They're going to beat the Georgia Bulldogs. And the main reasons is that Appalachian State can stop the run. Last year against Tennessee, they only allowed 3 yards to carry. If you only allowed 3 yards to carry against Tennessee when they had Jalen Hurts, Kamara, who was I think a 2nd round draft pick, and the quarterback Dobbs as well. Yeah, that's doing a really good job at Appalachian State, a Sun Belt Conference team. They're not an FCS team anymore. They're a Sun Belt Conference team. So they're going to be able to stop Nick Chubb and Sonny Michael running the football. Then guess who it's on? It's on Jacob Eason. And Jacob Eason, because they're playing Appalachian State, because people are doubting Jacob Eason and wondering, oh man, is he going to be able to clean up that 2-to-1 interception ratio? He's going to come out playing conservative football. Don't turn the ball over. Georgia's going to have a ton of punts in the beginning of the game. I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. They're going to find themselves in a dogfight in the fourth quarter and trying to find a way to get out, trying to turn it up, trying to be a little more risky. Then that's when turnovers happen. People drop balls, penalties, all these things when you start to get desperate because you don't want to lose to Appalachian State. That's what's going to happen to Georgia. And my last bold prediction for the weekend is this is the beginning of the end of the SEC. Not the end of the conference. This is the end of that myth that they are just so extremely dominant. They are not as dominant as you think they are. I know the BCS era happened, but let me explain this to you. Let me break this down for you. Why the SEC was so dominant in the BCS era. It's not simply because of it's not simply just because they had really good teams and all that. It was a manipulation. Let me explain this to you. Before the conference forced their teams to play at least one one Power 5 school on their conference schedule on their schedule every year. What these teams used to do is they used to schedule 2 FCS teams and 2 really, really bad non-conference games, and then play their 8 conference games. So let me explain to you how the conference game math works now. If you only play 8 conference games, that means that the teams in the conference, that there are less losses to go around between them because they play each other. So somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. As opposed to the Pac-12, the Big Ten, ACC, others that play 9 conference games. Big 12, they played 9 conference games. There's less losses to go around. So then when you combined that with the 4 awful, I mean just god-awful non-conference games, it created a situation where everybody in the SEC was pretty much starting out with 4 free wins. 4 free wins. And then as other teams start their conference play or play more conference games, SEC teams constantly move up the rankings and move up the schedule. Move up the rankings. So then you have number 1 playing number 8, 2 playing 12 every single week because of these rankings have been manipulated and skewed. And then there's less losses that they're going to have at the end of the season. So then they continuously got in the BCS game almost every year for like 7 or 8 years. And then they won 1 game. That's how it happened. But the beginning of the end of the SEC is now. Because when you think about the 2015 bowl season, when they were just, the SEC West and East were just absolutely obliterated, point to that. Then point to last year when you had Tennessee playing close with Appalachian State. You had South Alabama beating people. You had Kentucky losing to FCS. I mean, it was just awful. So the SEC takes another black eye this weekend when they have losses when Alabama, Texas A&M, Georgia, South Carolina, and Florida all losing game in week 1. To Florida State, UCLA, Appalachian State, NC State, and Michigan. That's the way it's going to work this weekend. Sorry, SEC fans, but this is what it is. This is the reality of the world that you live in right now. And that brings me to my most overrated teams in 2017. I'm so excited about this. You can check my Twitter for these things. They are on here. The lists are on there as well, at George Reister. The Texas Longhorns. They've been very quiet. They've been very, very quiet. Haven't really heard a lot about him. But Tom Herman's team, people are expecting Charlie Strong is out. All of a sudden, this team's going to be good. Messing around with a top 25 team, and then hopefully they can squeeze in the top 25. No, slow all the way down. I mean, eclipsing the 5 wins from last year, that's not going to be very difficult. They have winnable games versus Maryland, San Jose State, Iowa State, and Kansas. That's 4 right there. So you should be able to get to 7 pretty easy. You said the football players in your school don't do classwork. What school do you go to? I want to know where that's at. But the interesting part about the Texas team is that Tom Herman recently said that Shane Buechele's just guaranteed to start for this game. That means that they may have a quarterback situation out there. Next overrated team is the Florida Gators. Florida Gators. You already know, in addition to why they are just overrated, now they don't even have a damn team to field a competitive team against Michigan, so who knows what the hell is going to happen. Next up, Michigan. I've already said why Michigan's overrated, and my number 1 overrated team of the year is the Washington Huskies. For all you think I don't point to Pac-12 teams, here you go. The Washington Huskies are the most overrated team. They have an awful schedule. Their quarterback's very average in Jake Browning. And he's not the kind of guy who is going to be able to win these big games for you. Last year, when you look at games against Utah, USC, Alabama, and it was one other game as well, he played very poorly. He didn't show you anything. And then people say, oh, he had a torn rotator cuff. Yeah, but his rotator cuff was just fine against Oregon. His rotator cuff was just fine in the against whoever else they played. No, his arm just hurt really bad versus good teams. That's what it was. So insane. That's why I have my top 25 completely differently. When I do my top 25, I do not under any circumstances care about the AP poll and the college football poll. I care about what you did last week relative to what everybody else did last week. So one week you may look like a top 10 team. Another week you might look like a top 20 team. And that's what it is. Because some of these teams think that they're national championship contenders, like Michigan, UCLA, Florida, Auburn, Georgia. Nope. Nope, not at all. Same thing with Washington, Miami, Stanford even, Louisville, and LSU, not championship contenders. The championship contender teams, let me list them off to you. Clemson, Ohio State, Oklahoma, USC, Penn State, Florida State, Oklahoma State, and Alabama. Those are your 8 teams that can realistically win a championship. That's it. Nobody else. That's why it's so frustrating for me to listen to these college football pundits and watch them, because it just makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me why they continuously want to pile on teams just because of a coach or just because of recruiting class. Recruiting classes matter, but not that damn much. Got to have the players because they develop into real studs or not. All right, you guys. Thank you guys for joining me today on Right or Wrong. Getting ready to get out of here. Please like the feed, share the feed, continue to join in every day, and we will be back tomorrow.